Hi everybody, it's Ernie Sabella, the voice of Pumbaa from The Lion King. And I'm telling you to like this video and subscribe to Carny's YouTube channel.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Everyone's turning on Chapel Roan. What's that all about? What's the deal with everyone hating on Chapel Roan? I can tell you exactly why, so stick around. First off, I'm Carny. Nice to meet you. Fellas, it's great to see you. Ladies. It's a privilege. It is a privilege. Welcome in. So if you're new around here, I'm a musician. I spent a lot of nights looking at guitar pedals like Hamlet looks at the skull during the to be or not to be speech, dreaming of having everything that Chapel Roan now has. I also worked in the music industry a little bit. I worked for Warner Music Group after college for a little bit. So I have some insight on this professionally, but I also have some personal opinions I want to share about it as well. Before I start, please take note in your head how you feel about Chapel Roan right now. And then at the end of the video, if you're still here at the end of the video, comment if that has changed at all based on anything that I had to say. Or if not, then that's okay. But I'd be curious to hear if anybody has a kind of a perspective shift. So where did this all start? So basically, a couple months ago, Chapel Roan posted this TikTok very upset about the way that she's been treated by the public, by fans of hers. She talks about people harassing her family. She talks about getting stalked. She talks about a lot of things that you would think everybody would agree that she deserves to be upset about. So why is it that people were upset? If you ask me, there are two, count them, two specific things that she said in this video that really rubbed people the wrong way. The first one is this.
I'm a random bitch. You're a random bitch. Just think about that for a second.
Except she's not. She is not random on any level. And she knows this. Do you want to know how I know she knows this? Because she says, like 10 seconds later in the video, this.
I don't care that this crazy type of behavior comes along with the job, the career field I've chosen. That does not make it okay. That doesn't make it normal. It doesn't mean I want it. It doesn't mean that I like it.
So she's admitting that she knows that part of the deal of being famous is having to deal with crazy people. Is it fair? No, but she knows this and she says that she doesn't want it, except for the fact that she absolutely did want it. Huge disclaimer. I want to make it clear. I am not like victim blaming on any level, saying that she's like wanting to be like stalked or harassed, or that she's asking for it on any level. I am not saying that at all. I am purely talking about the desire to be famous and that she knew that there were some negatives that came along with that. That's all I'm saying. Let's take a trip down memory lane and go through at least what Wikipedia was able to tell me about the history of Chapel Roan's career. First, she gets signed by a label. Second, she works with Olivia Rodrigo's producer, admittedly before he became Olivia Rodrigo's producer, but still, he was a player in the music industry. She gets dropped by the label. She moves all the way back to Missouri just to save money to move back to LA. She moves back to LA. She gets back with Olivia Rodrigo's producer, who has now become Olivia Rodrigo's producer. She gets signed again. She played shows to no one for years and posted on TikTok regularly, hoping to garner a following. She absolutely wanted this to happen. Chapel Roan wanted to be famous, and it's okay. Everyone who makes music wants there to be big crowds to sing their lyrics back at them and to know that there are thousands or millions of people streaming their stuff and connecting with the thing that they have made. It is okay that Chapel Roan wanted to be famous. But she did want to be famous, and I think that is what is rubbing people the wrong way. Because I think there are kind of like two tones you could have when you're talking about like the struggles of success. The first one is kind of a vibe of, I got what I wanted, but now I changed my mind. I thought the negatives would not outweigh the positives, but they did. And now that I know that, I have had a shift in my perspective and what I want for my future. I would hope we can all acknowledge that that is a very rational, normal thing to happen. That's a very scientific way to go through life. But the other way to talk about struggling with how successful you are is kind of this vibe of, well, I didn't sign up for this. And I think that's kind of the vibe that comes through in everything that she's been saying recently, is this sort of notion of like, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't ask for any of this, but she did sign up for it. She literally took a pen and signed a paper saying that she wanted this. Like, when you sign a record deal, this is what you're going for. Like, what has happened to her is the absolute best case scenario of signing a record deal. But it didn't stop there. Now we have another thing that she said. Now she's saying she doesn't want to win a Grammy because maybe then all these people will stop paying attention to her and then she can live a normal life again, or whatever the fuck it is that she was saying. People had opinions on this, especially in the context of the first video. I chose one random Instagram post that was like reporting these comments she made about the Grammy thing. And I wanted to see who was on her side and who was not on her side. It was pretty split, but most people were not happy with her about this. Why did you even submit your music for Grammy Awards then? Don't get me wrong, I love her, and the sudden success and attention has to be terrifying, but I feel like there's a line between being scared and being ungrateful, and she's walking on it. This is getting kinda annoying, TBH. There's some nastier ones in there too, but I'm not gonna talk about those. But with that said, there were some people who were very fiercely defending her in this comment section as well. Y'all always say you want down-to-earth celebrities, but when you get the most regular person-esque celebrity ever, y'all put words in her mouth saying she's ungrateful. Y'all love a female artist for 6 months, and when she expresses her disdain about how people overstep boundaries, y'all turn on her. Get a damn grip. She's human too. And that leads me to the other side of the argument. What if Chappell Roan is not a villain? What if Chappell Roan is the hero? A lot of people actually think that she's setting a really good example of, you know, boundary setting for people in the public eye. There's one quote in her TikTok that I actually really agree with and think is great.
It's weird how people think that you know a person just because you see them online or you listen to the art they make. That's weird.
And she's right. You don't know these people. Maybe you think you do. Maybe it's easier to do that with musicians because, especially with her, like she writes so much music about her own life that maybe you could feel more connected to her. But those are 3-minute songs. And she's obviously not the first famous person to talk about this either. Megan Fox has a great quote comparing fame to high school bullying, but like to the nth degree. FKA Twigs has a really good quote about how when you're famous, people kind of look for negative things about you rather than positive ones. Look, I meant what I said when I said she definitely did sign up for this, and if she's gonna ever act like she didn't, then yeah, I understand why people would be mad about that. But we really do need to have some compassion for what she's going through. Let me put it this way. Whether you view the change as positive or negative, however you feel about it, in 1 year, her own life has become completely unrecognizable to her. That's really fucking hard. To go so quickly from playing shows where no one is watching you to having people watch you just walking outside your front door is really scary. But this does lead me to one quote on that Instagram post that really caught my eye. The quote is she aware she doesn't have to be a singer if she doesn't want to? And that is true. She can quit. She doesn't have to be famous. And this actually reminds me a lot of another artist that I've kind of been saying this about for years now. Pardon the change of scenery, my camera decided to take a giant fat shit all over my heart and brain and dreams over the past few days. So now I'm filming this a few days after I filmed the other clips. But anyway, like I was saying, this situation kind of reminds me of another artist, Bo Burnham. Now, there was a time when I was a big fan of Mr. Burnham. Watched everything he did. And I want to make it clear, I don't dislike Bo Burnham now, but I definitely don't feel as positively about him as I used to. I guess I just wouldn't call myself a big fan of his anymore. I still think he's a very talented guy. And I think part of that is my taste changing, but part of it is also kind of this Chappell Roan situation. Allow me to use Inside, Bo's special, as a case study. In this special, Bo sings some songs about some normal, silly COVID quarantine stuff. Then he sings some silly songs about normal COVID quarantine stuff, but with a little bit of a serious edge to them. And then he spends the final 30 minutes of the special blaming his fans for the fact that he has anxiety. I should mention, I talked to a friend of mine about this and she was adamant, like, no, it's all a bit, like, don't take any of it seriously. And that might be true. If that is true, then I'll eat crow. I'm wrong. That's okay. But basically the circle we're in here is Bo is anxious because he's famous. Bo is famous because he makes specials. And now he's complaining about his anxiety in a special that no one expected to or asked him to make. I don't know if people remember this, but like nobody knew Inside was coming. That was the whole marketing thing. It was like the Beyonce thing. He just dropped it on Twitter like a week before it came out, like, hey, I got a new special. And while I'm sure he had some contract with Netflix, I also am pretty sure that they didn't invest a ton of money in it because he just did the whole thing in his house. So I think he could have gotten out of it if he really needed to for his mental health, but he didn't. He chose to keep making it, and then he chose to make a significant portion of it just him blaming his fans for all the problems in his life. Now, believe me, I am not one of those people to look at any artist or celebrity and have that kind of like, I'm the one who pays your salary type of mentality. I think that's wrong. But you could at least not complain at me for giving you the life that you dreamt of as a child. Now, I want to make it clear, I am not calling for Chappell Roan to retire, but that is an option if she wants to. And I will say, there's a part of me that like wishes she does that just because that would be like the most punk thing ever. Like that would be so awesome if she just like if she like Lauryn Hilled it, just made one album that everybody liked and then just dipped and like never talked about it again. Like that would be so sick. I'm not saying she has to take that option, but if she doesn't take that option, then she's going to eventually have to just put her head down and accept that she is accepting this life. Crazy fans are going to be crazy. That is not going to change. But if she keeps complaining about this, then people may eventually feel about her the same way that I ended up feeling about Bo. I can only listen to a man who has never had to work a real job complain about how hard his life is so much before I just can't take it anymore. Now that we're on the subject, let's talk about me, I guess. I kind of inserted myself into the title of this video. So how do I feel about this? I'm just gonna improv this part. I really do have compassion for both of these artists, because it's hard to be in a place where people are watching you. Like, I'm not famous at all, and I just feel like I'm being watched sometimes, and it really, really sucks. And especially in this world where, like, we have more parasocial relationships than we ever have had before. Like, there were crazy fans who would, like, you know, there was, like, some nut job that, like, followed around Jodie Foster in the 80s or something. Like, those things did used to happen, but it's definitely more of a problem now. But I don't know, at the same time, it's hard, because it's like I said in the video, like these people have everything that I want. I'm filming this video on a camera that I was only able to afford because a friend of mine sold it to me. I'm using a ring light that my mom gave to me, and I'm in a studio apartment. I love my apartment. I'm very grateful for it, but it's like, it's not the big houses that I assume these people live in. And going back to like one thing I said earlier, maybe I'm not trying to just rail on Bo Burnham. I really think he's an intelligent guy and like he's a very talented person. He seems like a good person. Like I'm not trying to act like he's just a jerk. But it's like that dude has never had a real job, and he has spent his whole career acting like he is the most tortured, persecuted person on the planet, and it's infuriating. Like the guy has a dream job for so many people, including me. Chappell Roan has a dream job for so many people, including me. Like the 15-year-old version of me air guitaring to Green Day would look at everything she has now and be like, oh my God, how are you complaining about this? And the adult version of me still looks at that, and as much as I would love to just say like, oh no, I get it now, she should complain about that, I'm still like, no, I really don't see how you're complaining about this. But obviously, like going off what I just said, like I have to admit, I'm biased. Like everything I'm saying, like I'm literally saying like I want what these people have. That is jealousy, and it's not a good thing to be jealous, and it probably clouds my judgment about this to some degree. And for that, I guess I kind of have to apologize. But I don't know. It's just really, really hard to hear about somebody complain about getting everything you wanted for two reasons. Number one is you just feel like, shouldn't you just be happy? Like you have more money than most people in this country, and especially most people in the world, will ever have. You are recognized constantly for the things that you've created. You are validated endlessly. And this is your job. Your job is to like play music in front of giant crowds, and they're singing your songs, and you're not cool with that. I shouldn't say you're not cool with that. Like you're not content with that and accepting, you know, the bad things that come along with it. But that leads me kind of to the second thing, is it makes me wrestle with the fact that like, maybe if I did get all these things that they have, it probably wouldn't make me happy. Achieving everything I want, I may just end up feeling the way that they're vocalizing how they feel. And it might not make me feel better, it might make me feel worse. And that's a really hard thing to admit, especially when I'm filming on an old camera on my mom's ring light in a studio apartment in Los Angeles, because I have this dream that I kind of would like to make creative things for a living. But then you have to think about, maybe it's not really even about like being creative for a living. Maybe it's about fame specifically. I don't know. There is always going to be a duality for me, and I think a lot of other people, especially creative people, when it comes to artists saying things like this about the success that they've had. What Chappell Roan goes through on a day-to-day basis does not sound fun. But playing to the biggest crowd in Lollapalooza history, that sounds like a lot of fun. That sounds like an absolute dream come true. And I don't know, there's too much nuance in this for me to like solve it in one YouTube video, because this is not really a solvable thing. But I don't know, what do you think? Should all these artists just be content to be adored by millions and harassed by hundreds? Should we all be nicer to Chappell Roan, or do we think that the hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars she has is enough to make her be able to sleep at night, even though all this stuff is going on? Is Chappell Roan really the first domino to changing the celebrity culture that we have in our society today? I don't know. But if you subscribe to this YouTube channel and help me make this my job, I'll let you know as soon as I find out. Fellas, it was good to see you, and say something nice to the ladies on the way out.
Hi everybody, it's Ernie Sabella, the voice of Pumbaa from The Lion King. And I'm telling you to like this video and subscribe to Carny's YouTube channel. That's Carny's YouTube channel.